before the Islamist revolution took place. Tehran was known as the Paris of the East. Fashion used to come first to Tehran and then it used to percolate down to other countries. Mossad, the secret service of Israel, was being aided by Savak, that is the secret police of Iran. Israel used to export nuclear technology to Iran and they used to call it the atoms of peace. Iran used to export oil to Israel and Israel was helping in building of infrastructure in Iran. And the same country is now bombarding that infrastructure. See, whatever happens in the Middle East, it's a win-win situation for India. Nowadays, nobody goes in for pure ideology. It is all economic interest. No country in the world would like to have a strained relationship with India. The Prime Minister goes and he shakes hands with people and negotiations start if in case the relations are strained. What changed? Before Operation Sindoor was launched, Operation Rising Lion was already planned. Okay. And during Operation Sindoor, probably we upset the plans of Operation Rising Lion, and that is why the American president, the POTUS, was slightly put off. See, there's a nexus between four countries. Pakistan, North Korea, China, Iran. Pakistan has exported nuclear technology to North Korea and to Iran.
What happens when two of the world's most volatile powers, Israel and Iran, are at war again? And where does that leave a country like India with deep diplomatic ties on both sides of the fault line? Amidst quietly pulling off an evacuation of students across borders to a time of shifting alliances, what does Prime Minister Modi's outreach to countries like Cyprus and Croatia really signal to the world? With the United States cozying up to Pakistan again, are we watching history repeat itself, or is it just a simple quid pro quo? Or is Washington playing a more dangerous game this time? To make sense of it all, Colonel Mayank Chaubey joins us today. An army officer with over 3 decades of military service, Colonel Chaubey has also held a long tenure with the Ministry of External Affairs, where he shaped perspectives on India's foreign policy and strategic posture. So let's dive into this minefield. Thank you for coming here, Colonel Chaubey. It's lovely having you in our studio, and I look forward to this discussion.
Thank you so much, Neena ji, for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Sir, I want to start with first asking you about the conflict that has been on. So this conflict has been on since 13th of June. And I want to know the beginning of this conflict. Since when did Iran and Israel become enemies? And what is the history of this conflict?
Neena ji, before going into the history of the conflict, let us see that there was certain bonhomie which was existing between Israel and Iran.
Correct.
This was pre 1979, before the Islamist revolution took place. Bonhomie to the extent that the Mossad, the secret service of Israel, was being aided by Savak, that is the secret police of Iran. Israel used to export nuclear technology to Iran and they used to call it the atoms of peace. Iran used to...
The atoms of peace.
Atoms for peace.
And they were sharing the nuclear secrets.
They were sharing the nuclear secrets.
And now today they want to bomb Israel.
That's the irony. That's the irony. Iran used to export oil to Israel and Israel was helping in building of infrastructure in Iran.
Okay.
And the same country is now bombarding that infrastructure. structure. That's irony.
That's the and that is because I suppose of the regime change there in
Exactly.
1979 when the current regime has taken over. Okay, and so another question arises is that when they were sharing this technology, how close is Iran, or how close was Iran to developing the nuclear bomb? Since Israel has been claiming that there was an imminent threat. Now, do you and what is the evidence for it, or is this just exaggerated?
Neena ji, the threat which came into being, it came into fore in the year 2015.
Okay.
We had a joint CPOA. And in 2015, they decided that, okay, Iran has to be stopped because Iran was going ahead with enrichment of uranium. Iran was placed under sanctions. Now, Iran was reeling under sanctions, so US, along with the powerful five, the P5, who hold the high table in the UN Security Council, and Germany, and the countries of the EU, they all come together and they strike a nuclear deal with Iran. This deal was not taken very, very boldly by Israel. They didn't like this deal happening. So this was a famous Iran nuclear deal. With this deal, they took from Iran that you will not enrich uranium beyond a certain point.
So, what is the significance of enriching uranium beyond a certain point?
Neena ji, if in case you enrich uranium beyond a certain point,
Sure.
it becomes a weapon grade uranium.
Okay.
It can be used to make atom bombs.
Okay.
So it came into the notice of various agencies like the IAEA. After this Iran nuclear deal of 2015, it was decided that their facilities will be inspected by the IAEA so that they don't go into enrichment of uranium or they don't proliferate this nuclear technology. The inspectors were deputed by IAEA. Cameras were fit in the nuclear installations. Now, what happens because of this? The sanctions which were levied on Iran were lifted. So Iran could trade.
Okay.
Now, things change and comes the year 2018.
Okay.
And slowly people start getting the feelers that Iran is going back on its promise. But nobody had the proof. They had this Natanz nuclear facility.
Correct.
Now, in Natanz nuclear facility, they had a number of centrifuges. And you'll be surprised to note that these centrifuges were a replica of the centrifuges which were working in Kahuta. Kahuta is in Pakistan.
Oh my God.
And Kahuta centrifuges were based on the design which was stolen from Holland that time, Netherlands now, by A.Q. Khan, Abdul Qadir Khan.
It was stolen.
Yes.
How did he manage to steal them?
It is said that he used to work in the nuclear facility. He used to work where the centrifuges were located. And this man, he used to write notes in Urdu. And whenever somebody asked, so he used to say that I am writing back home. I am writing letters. But he was taking down notes in Urdu, copying the designs from there. And one fine day, he leaves Netherlands and lands in Pakistan. He is given a hero's welcome. So he is involved in establishing the present nuclear facilities in Pakistan. He is the father of their nuclear technology. But unfortunately, his grave also doesn't exist in Pakistan. They have broken his grave.
Why?
We'll come to it later.
You'll hold it for later.
Yes.
So, you mentioned that Pakistan already has a bomb. US knows, and when India in Operation Sindoor had bombed the entrance of one of these facilities, there was this push to go into ceasefire, right? So, I want to understand, if Pakistan is allowed nukes, why is Iran not allowed nukes? What is the problem? Is it a problem with is it a Shia Sunni problem that we are seeing? Because Sunni Pakistan can have nukes, but a Shia Iran cannot have nukes. How do you see this?
Adina ji, if you take your mind back to the 80s,
Okay.
in the 80s, a Kahuta plant was being developed, and Israel offered to India that we will come and we will take down the nuclear facility of Pakistan.
Okay.
It is said so, but there is no record as such.
Because obviously a lot of these things will not come on
Exactly.
record. These are verbal conversations,
Exactly.
yes and no, and it ends there. We know this.
Yes. But then that is in the public domain. People know about this, that something happened. They asked for refueling facility over Gujarat.
Okay.
Because the Israeli jets had to fly a long distance.
Yes.
So they asked for refueling facility over Gujarat. They would bomb Kahuta and go back. But somewhere the political will buckled, and we didn't allow this to happen.
Now, during which year is this?
This was in the 80s. I don't remember which year exactly, but it was in the 80s.
Well, we have somebody who was given the highest award in this country called Nishane-Pakistan, one of the ex-PMs of this country.
Maybe I'm not really aware who was given the award. We leave it to that.
Pakistan was gifted to a PM of this country for gifting the nuclear bomb to that country.
Yes, yes. Had we taken down that facility, today things would have been totally different. Going back to your question, Israel, it faces an existential threat.
Of course.
It believes the moment any country, any Islamic country, has a bomb, that bomb will be used against Israel. Because there is a clear-cut divide between these two, the Yahudis and the Islamists. So what Israel does is, it carries out raids on Iraq, and they destroy the Iraqi reactor. They get a hint that Syria is also building a reactor, then the reactor might go critical anytime. So they send their special forces by the name of Sayeret Matkal.
Sayeret Matkal is a special force of
Israel.
Okay.
They go on ground.
In addition to IDF.
Yes, yes.
Okay. IDF and the Mossad.
Mossad.
Okay.
Mossad is a secret agency. IDF is the Israeli Defense Forces.
Yes, of course.
Sayeret Matkal is the elite force.
Okay, it's an elite force.
Yeah, you can say like our para-commandos.
Oh, yeah. So I just wanted to get that.
Okay. So Sayeret Matkal, they infiltrate into Syria.
Okay.
They go near this facility.
Okay.
They pick up samples of sand and water from there.
Okay.
Send it back to Israel. In the Israeli labs, they are tested. They are tested for the amount of radioactive content in that water and sand. That would show as to what is the level of a reactor going critical. They analyze it and they decide that, okay, we will bomb this facility. So the Israeli jets, they take off. They are totally blind, because for 2 hours they are supposed to be incommunicado with each other, and the targets are set. They go, they bomb this facility, destroy it, and they overflew Jordan. At that time, probably the king of Jordan was there on his yacht, and he saw the planes flying. But before he could react, the IDF planes were back home. So they destroyed the Syrian facility. What I wanted to convey here was that Israel is determined. Any nuclear bomb in the Islamic world will not exist. Because the moment the bomb is there, their life is at stake, and the entire Jewish community will be threatened. That is the belief of Israel, and that is why you see in this war, they have gone hammer and tongs after Iran to destroy the nuclear facility. Their first aim was to finish off the nuclear facility. The second aim was to finish their missile capability. And the third thing was to finish their regime. And they have clearly stated that we are against the current regime. We are not against the public.
Yeah, because Mr. Netanyahu repeatedly has addressed the Iranian public straight up.
Straight up, yes.
And he says that our war is against the people who are occupying you as well. I mean, he gives that he's not using the same words as I am, but he says that this is not against you, this is against these people. They are like this. I think. Do you think that is a smart move? What is the basis of this move? What do you think he aims at with all of this?
Neena ji, since we have named Mr. Netanyahu, let us take a mind back to one of his addresses, one of his press conference, not a press conference. He was addressing some lady who was taking his interview.
Sure.
And in that interview, he says that there are two threats to the world. One is Iran, and the second country was our beloved Pakistan. He names these two countries. He clearly said that if in case we have atom bombs in these two countries, the polity will use it, and it is a danger for mankind. So he has already identified that these two nations are danger to the entire world. I don't know when will the Western world understand, But Mr. Netanyahu, he understands
He
the threat.
understands that these men cannot be
And
trusted.
fortunately, India has also understood it.
India has wise people in India have understood it for a long time, and they
Ji.
even understand it now. It is certain politicians who don't have a grasp of ground realities. Okay, so till now we were discussing these sites. Till now, how many sites has Israel struck, and which are the most important sites that it has gotten rid
The
of?
first was the Natanz site. Now, Natanz site was important. Why? Because the entire enrichment to weapon grade uranium was being carried out in this place. This site didn't have tens, not hundreds, it had thousands of centrifuges working day and night. Thousands of them.
What are they doing with the power, or what are they doing with the centrifuges?
See, the centrifuges they run, and they enrich the uranium to weapon grade uranium.
Okay.
And it is said that they have enriched uranium to the tune of 408 kgs.
Okay.
408 kgs is enough to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Some other sources, they said that they have got enriched uranium to the tune of 7,500 kgs also. So that would have been disaster. So
that can destroy Earth.
Yes.
A few times
Yes,
over.
Yes. So that was a danger which was lurking in the neighborhood of Israel.
Okay.
Israel, the moment they get the slightest hint that some nuclear activity is going on, they will definitely take note of it. So hence this thing was, my thinking is that before Operation Sindoor was launched, Operation Rising Lion was already planned.
Okay.
And during Operation Sindoor, probably we upset the plans of Operation Rising Lion, and that is why the American president, the POTUS, was slightly put off.
This is another edge that we are finding out. However, we are going to address that in some time. So I just want to go back again to the nuclear facilities. So let's say Natanz and
Natanz was the leader in all these activities. The other place was near Qom. It was Fardo.
And what about Teleghan? Did I pronounce
the
that right?
Other facility was Bushehr. Bushehr had a nuclear reactor which was given by the Russians.
So this is a gift. So they have gifts
yes,
as well. So they have stolen gifts.
They have stolen gifts. They have
gifts.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm calling it gift. Maybe it was a joint venture, but then the Russian hand was there in establishing the Bushehr reactor. Bushehr is in the southern part of Iran. Then there is one more facility known as the Arak facility. Arak facility was taken down day before yesterday.
Okay, so it's recent.
Yeah. So now Fardo. Fardo again had a number of centrifuges. Uranium enrichment was being carried out here. But this facility was tucked in the hills, very secure, and it was a hardened facility.
Hardened facility?
Hardened facility means a huge amount of concrete is used to build this facility. So if in case you want to penetrate into this, it becomes very, very difficult. So now the thought process is that Israel used lots of explosives to rip open this facility, and that is the reason why Qom, which is located just 32 kilometers away from Fardo, experienced earthquake to the tune of 2.5 Richters.
Okay, only 2.5.
Only 2.5.
In Pakistan, when we observed, the Richter scale went up to 4.5.
Yes.
The average was 4.5, 4.55. That is in. So what decides the difference in the Richter scale?
Neena ji, one is the normal shifting of tectonic plates that causes this disturbance. That is the natural earthquake. Secondly, if you use explosives beyond a particular limit, then the vibrations of the earth, they trigger this type of a sensation. And these two signatures are totally different. So a person who understands geology can make out whether this is a natural earthquake or whether it has been triggered because of some explosion. In both the cases of Pakistan as well as Iran, I maintain that the nuclear arsenal would have been ripped open at best. But a trigger of a nuclear reaction was not there, because to initiate a nuclear bomb, you require a particular drive chain.
Drive chain?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So you initiate a reaction, it is boosted by some method, and the critical mass of the uranium which is sitting there inside, it gets initiated, and a continuous chain reaction follows. The neutrons keep hitting the atoms and it keeps on blasting, and further neutrons keep on flowing. That is how the chain reaction flows. And if you recollect, there was a IL-76 which came from Egypt
Correct.
into Pakistan.
In Pakistan, yes.
So it
yes.
carried boron carbide. Boron carbide dampens the effect of neutrons. And this chemical was used in Fukushima in Japan.
Yes, yes.
So if you start connecting dots, you'll come to a conclusion that something happened.
Yeah, I think by the end of these two conflicts, people will be much educated about nuclear weaponry,
Exactly.
and the bombs and
And the missiles.
and the missiles, and the drones, and also what all is being used. Like, for example, I did not know boron till the time I read about boron. I mean, I knew boron is an element, but then what is the use of that element? I never figured it out. Yes. Okay. So, do you think that all these facilities, when this problem has happened, considering that North Korea and US are enemies, do you think that Iran is going to look at North Korea as an ally to take weaponry from them, especially nuclear weaponry? Do you think that could be a chance? There could be a
Neena
chance.
ji, they have been colluding and collaborating.
Yeah, because we've heard the news of collusions and collaborations.
Yes. See, there's a nexus between four countries.
Yeah.
Pakistan, North Korea, China, Iran. Pakistan has exported nuclear technology to North Korea and to Iran.
Who have they not exported it to? I've heard in
Libya also.
Yeah, I was going to say, in between I've heard Libya
Yes.
as well. Huh.
So Pakistan, people now call it as Hira Mandi.
Hira Mandi, of course.
So Hira Mandi is one place where you just show the wads of notes and you can extract anything from them. We'll come to the visit of Asim Munir also to Washington.
Okay. And, how many proxies does Iran have? And obviously, we've heard in the news that Iran has weakened its proxies, right? I mean, because of the previous conflict that has happened between these countries. How do you think, or how much do you think, is the capacity for Iran to sustain this conflict?
Neena ji,
after the proxies.
Regarding the proxies, everybody knows about the three H's, Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. But there are many other proxies because Iran supports many militias. I have taken down a note because I could not remember the names and the numbers. In Syria itself, now Bashar al-Assad regime was favorable to Iran. And Iran was supporting Bashar al-Assad. But in Syria itself, you had a Shia militia owing allegiance to Afghanistan.
Okay.
They had an Afghan Shia militia. You had a Pakistani Shia militia again deployed in Syria. So the Pakistanis, they have got footprints everywhere in the world. So you touch one militia and you'll find a Pakistani element sitting there.
This is why they are called the exporters of terror.
Exactly. Dr. S. Jaishankar has coined this terminology after a very careful thought because everything is so open, it's available in public domain as to where all the Pakistanis terrorists have been proliferating. So, if Pakistan is known as the mother of terrorism, nothing new about it because they have got footprints in Syria, as we have discussed. Then you have Shia militias working in Iraq. You have got Shia militias working in Afghanistan. Pakistani Shia militias we've already discussed here. So, Iran has got, you can say, it has got a, a systematic investment plan of a mutual fund. So, he keeps on investing in various places so that returns come to them. Now, what has happened in this conflict? Hezbollah. Hezbollah, if you remember the pagers which went off, the scare was there. Day before yesterday, the Hezbollahs, they have dragged their feet and they have said that we won't be able to support Iran.
Why?
They say that it's not possible. A hint has come from there. Of course, they will not say in as many words, but the hint is there. The Houthis have been silenced. They have not spoken. The Hamas, they fired just 2 rockets into Israel. Israel responded, but then they have also kept quiet. Now, slowly, what happens when the ship is about to sink? The rats, they just jump off from the ship. So you'll find all these rats jumping off from the ship.
This is the first sign.
Yes. Day before yesterday, I got an input that 3 military planes have taken off from Iran and they have landed in Muscat.
Muscat.
Oman was trying to mediate between all these parts. Oman had said that we will mediate, and these were the sixth round of talks between Iran and the US. The US said that we will come to the negotiating table on the 14th of June. Iran said we will come on the 12th, like two school children. They didn't agree to that also. But now the condition is such that Iran was having a stockpile of approximately 3,000 missiles.
Wow.
They have fired around 1,000 of them. 50% of the launchers which were remaining have been taken down by the IDF air forces.
How did they manage to take off the...
They
sabotaged them?
Neena ji, at present, the entire Iran is... I feel that Mossad is present in Iran more than the Iranis. If you recollect, on the very first day, they had taken down, I think, 8 military leaders of Iran. The top military leadership was taken on the very first day.
The Salami Bagheri, Ghulam al
Ha, ha.
Rashid, these ones, they all killed on the
Ji,
13th,
ji, ji, ji.
right? Amir al Hadijeh,
Hadijeh.
sorry, I can't pronounce these
Ji,
names.
ji. But then these were all top military commanders.
Of course, yeah.
And the beauty is that the Israelis, they use their air force, they use their missile system, they use drones, they even used human intervention. People went inside houses, they planted explosives, and then they were remotely operated. Like they had killed Ismail Haniyeh in during the funeral of the president of Iran. So Israel has acted in this manner. The beauty is that the drones which were flown, they were flown from Tehran itself. They didn't come from outside. And
I
these
read this as well. Yeah. It
now,
was just,
now the interesting part is
Yeah.
that these drones were manufactured in Tehran.
Ah.
There was a factory running there, the assembly line working there, and Iranis were working in that factory, thinking that they are manufacturing drones for Iran. But they were manufacturing drones for the Israelis.
How did that happen? How did they manage to...
That is Mossad. That is Mossad. So now these drones manufactured in Iran, made in Iran drones were used for taking down targets, which were high value targets, included the military leadership and the nuclear scientists of Iran.
Just to butt in there, they created a anti-spy network, or the head. Remember this? That they had created, the Iranians had created this, that we're gonna find out who
The spies are.
the traitors and the spies are, and it turns out that the
Head.
was only an Israeli. This is just, I mean, I sometimes I'm just speechless. Whose idea was it to create it? Did the Israelis create this themselves, or did the Iranians think of this and then the Israeli became the Mossad became the head of it? How did
Neena
that
ji,
happen?
the beauty of a secret agency is that you don't come to know that they have worked.
Hmm.
So Israelis have always maintained a plausible deniability. Very tacit. They'll work under the cover, under the shadows, under the radar. They will do their actions, and when asked, the reply will be a tongue-in-cheek humor. 3 days back, the Iranians, they claimed that they have hit the Mossad headquarters and destroyed it.
Correct.
There was a tweet which came from Mossad's side.
Yeah.
They said, yes, the Iranians have hit the headquarters. Unfortunately, there was no loss of life because all the Mossad agents were in Iran. So,
Tongue in cheek. Absolutely tongue in cheek.
Now you see the country which is being pounded from all sides, which has enemy all sides, they still maintain a sense of humor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now we were discussing the pinpointing and how they are targeting the enemy and how they are not there. I saw this video in which there was this very gaping hole in one of the walls, right? I believe that is the location of the army chief Bagheri. Right?
Yes.
And he was the head of IRGC. And, okay. So it was very precise, just one hole in the wall. There's no destruction here and there. It's a very sleek, smart job done. Now, one is, how did they get the location of Bagheri? I mean, hats off to the technological advancement that they can make that one hole and just kill one person. there is this rumor that there was a watch which had a locator. Is it rumor? I don't know. So it is my job to ask you, and this is why I'm saying that there's nothing in written. And this watch was given to him apparently by Asim Munir. Is that true?
Yes, yes, yes. He was presented with a watch. There are photographs on social media. General Asim Munir gifting a watch to General Bagheri. Token exchange. And people say that it had a locating beacon.
Yeah.
And this locating beacon was sending signals to MI6.
MI6?
Yes.
Not to Mossad?
Not to Mossad directly, but to MI6. And through MI6, the signals were traveling to Mossad.
So MI6 is British.
Yes.
So here the question is that it's not going to Mossad, it's not going to CIA, which is American, because we have accused Pakistan of being an American stooge. Now you're saying it's also a British stooge. So it's...
See, Neena ji, we talked about Hira Mandi.
Yeah.
So probably pounds were heavier than the dollar. So he accepted a MI6 offer. Maybe. It's an intelligent guess.
Yeah, it's an
intelligent guess.
Okay, so you know that this reminds me of a conversation earlier we've had. Apparently, Asim Munir calls himself the deceiver. He signs himself like this is his nickname. There are names that we give to ourselves, like what is going to be our name in the army. So apparently in our show previously we had General Pandey. So General Pandey let us know the secret that he signs his name as the deceiver. So he's pretty good at that job of deceiving. He not only deceives the awam of his country, he's also deceiving these their own so-called friends by if this is what he has done, then he has deceived them. There's no friendship between Iran and Pakistan, and that is the reason I asked about the Shia Sunni bomb. They are not happy. Nobody is happy that the Iranians have their own bomb, unless they are friendly, with Israel.
You speak of deception, Neena ji. He has not only deceived his country, he has deceived his military also.
How?
If you remember, there was a case of Jafar Express. The DG-ISPR, he came and spoke, and he said that there are only 1,500 Baloch fighters and we will take them down anytime.
Okay.
My reports, they say that there are at least 15,000 Baloch fighters, at least.
Wow.
Not below that. 15,000 Baloch are fighting for a cause. He is trying to tell the world that they are just terrorists. How has he deceived his own army? There were 220 military men traveling on that train. And he said that we lost only 32 people. So, Pakistan is famous for putting its own army men in the line of fire, and when they get killed, they will disown them.
Yeah.
Neena, sorry.
Please continue.
Neena ji, that reminds me of an incident.
Yeah.
There was a young Pakistani captain by the name of Colonel Sher Khan. Colonel Sher Khan was named Colonel Sher Khan. Why? Because as a boy, he wanted to join the army. So his parents named him Colonel.
For Colonel.
So he
General,
gets
Colonel,
General, the way Pakistanis speak. So he gets commissioned into the Pakistan Army, and he is allotted Northern Light Infantry as the regiment. This young officer, he is manning a MMG post in the Kargil Heights. And this MMG post was creating havoc for advancement of our troops. But then we silenced the MMG, we killed this Pakistani officer. But Indian Army believes that, okay, you are an army man, you fought bravely. So there's one Brigadier Bajwa. Now, Brigadier Bajwa was a person who wrote citations for two people. One was Colonel Sher Khan. He put a note in his pocket because the Pakistanis fortunately claimed his body. Not only claimed, they accepted that he was a soldier. And he put a note in his pocket that this boy has fought bravely, he should be rewarded for this. He wrote another citation for Subedar Joginder Singh. So Subedar Joginder Singh got the Paramveer Chakra. And Colonel Sher Khan got the highest military honor of Pakistan. Now this is Indian Army, where you see an opponent, an adversary. He is killing your own men. But when you see him as a soldier, You respect his bravery also. There have been instances, there is a grave of a Pakistani major who was killed in 1972 on the Indian side in Tithwal in Kupwara district. The Indian army till date maintains that grave. The Pakistanis, they bomb across the LOC, they destroy that grave, but the Indians, they still maintain that grave. There's a photograph of that grave. Whenever the Pakistanis come on my timeline, I send them that photograph. This is Indian army. We are not Pakistani army who refuse to take our own soldiers.
There's absolutely no dignity in their behavior,
Exactly.
nor dignity in
No.
the way they fight. Another thing I noticed is that when Operation Sindoor came, the way you're saying that they're putting up their soldiers in
Harm's way.
harm's way.
Yes.
Is this the reason why we saw a white flag on the Pakistani? You remember the white flag, right? It came on television so many times that
Neena
they
ji,
had vacated that
yeah.
post.
See, they have a history of surrendering. 93,000 people, they surrendered
Correct.
in East Pakistan,
Correct.
which is now Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Until date, Mutalba-e-Pakistan teaches them that they won the war in 1971.
I am just surprised about this. I just do not understand why do they say things like this, that they have won the war, when you know that they have clearly lost the war. We saw this in Gaza. Hezbollah claimed that Hamas, Hezbollah, everybody, they were all rejoicing as if they have won the war. I'm sorry, you did not win the war. None of you have survived. Pages blew you from places that they shouldn't have blown, and I don't know if they realize this or not, but killing is very easy. But it takes more resources when a person is maimed, and for the rest of your life now you're going to be having resources invested in you. I don't know whether they understand how war has now shifted to not exact killing but maiming. So I don't understand. Are they clueless, or what is it that makes them feel that they won it?
Neena ji, if you understand the ideology,
Yeah.
You'll understand it in two ways. India carried out the Operation Sindoor, and the Israelis undertook Operation Rising Lion.
Correct.
If you start comparing these two operations, you will believe that the Israelis have taken out a leaf of
India.
Operation. Yes.
Of course.
Now, what happens in Operation Sindoor?
Yes.
We take down the high-value targets, the terrorists.
Yes.
We hit them precisely.
Yeah.
No collateral damage. Why do we undertake this operation in the dead of night at 1:05? Why? Because there'll be no people, nobody in the mosque, nobody in the madrasas. People will not be out in the streets.
Yeah. So basically, collateral damage
No collateral
is at
damage.
the minimum.
So this is Indian Armed Forces. That is the thought process. That okay, we will take down the terrorists, but we will not harm the general public, and they are eliminated. You now take your mind back to Operation Rising Lion. Precise hits. They take down 10 military commanders.
Yes.
They kill around 4 or 5 nuclear scientists in the first go.
Yeah.
Second go again, they killed more.
Yeah.
Similar fashion, they take down these high value targets. Okay, now come back to Operation Sindoor. What we did, we took down their air defense system, the so-called HQ-9, जो कि चले तो चांद तक वरना शाम तक, हमने उसको शाम तक भी नहीं चलने दिया. So we took down their HQ-9 system, and the Pakistanis were left defenseless. Their air was our priority or our prerogative, or I say we were dominating in the air so far as the warfare was concerned. Similarly, the Israelis, they took down the Irani air defense systems in the first go. So they started from the southern tip of Iran and they moved upwards. Again, a copybook fashion. What we did in Sindoor, they were doing it there. Now, response was also same. The Iranians, they fired missiles, they flew drones, swarms of drones they flew. In Operation Sindoor, you saw the same thing. The Pakistanis, they used air power, they hit their missiles, they used swarms of drones against the Indians. So you see the war unfolding in a similar fashion. So the thought was same, and the execution on ground was also the same.
So kudos to the Indian military leadership who devise such plans?
Neena
Because
ji,
this is how we know the success. How do you know that somebody is successful? It's because others are mimicking them. This is the
yes,
first sign of success.
yes,
The first signs of success are that success has many fathers, and everybody is mimicking success.
yes. Yeah.
So kudos to the Indian military.
Neena ji, through your platform, I would like to tell all our Indian brothers and sisters who say that we should learn from Israel. This time, probably it was the other way
Other way
around.
around. Well, that's a great time. We have truly arrived, haven't we?
Yes, yes,
Good.
yes.
So I want to ask about Major General Ali Shamdani. Now, Ali Shamdani was the successor of Bagheri.
Bagheri.
The point is that he was killed within 4 days of his appointment.
Ji.
And Mr. Shamdani was the one who had recently, in January, purchased the Su-35 from Russia.
Russia.
Now, the reason I'm saying this is obviously he was a man doing his job. This was his post. Not only does the Mossad know who is the leader at present, they also know who's going to be replaced because in 4 days he was.
Eliminated.
Yeah, totally. So, how deep is Mossad's intelligence?
To tell you very frankly, this was a case of General Shadmani.
Hmm.
Shadmani was, he became successor to two people.
Hmm.
One was Bagheri, the other was, I think, General Rashid, if I'm not wrong. Because he was heading the IRGC, plus there is one more organization, Khatam al Ania or something. I'm missing the name. So this man was again a high value target and he was supposed to be eliminated. Now he was taken down. The second case was, if you recollect, there was a video which was floating on social media where a lady announcer is sitting in the TV studio.
Yes.
And suddenly
Yes.
there is a bombardment,
Yes.
and hurriedly she just leaves the place.
Yes.
And you hear certain people shouting,
Yes.
Allahu Akbar. And then there is total darkness in the
Yes.
studio.
Yes.
Now this was
And
a
it
hit.
happened live.
Yes, it happened during a live broadcast.
Yeah, live broadcast. Yeah.
So this was a IRIB studio, and this studio was not just a TV studio.
What was it?
It is said that the speeches of Ayatollah Khamenei,
Okay.
they were broadcast from this this TV station.
Okay.
The confessions of people who were against the regime, they were broadcast on this platform. It was a propaganda channel which was working in Tehran. It also had an optic fiber network of the Irani Secret Service working in that same complex.
Okay.
So the Israelis, they warned. They said, vacate District 3 of Tehran. They gave a warning. This studio was located in District 3 of Tehran. And after the warning, they took it down. So what happens is that everybody says that, okay, it's an attack on the press. But it was something else. So if you see the similarities, what the Pakistani army does, it will deploy its guns amongst the villagers.
Yeah, we saw the visuals. They went there on someone's roof. They
Yes.
put the gun on someone's roof. The family is sitting there.
Yes.
You're going to kill the whole family. It is the
Exactly.
same thing that is happening in Gaza. They in children's kindergartens, you have bunkers wherein you're storing and making terrorist weapons. And if you bomb it, it's like, oh look, you've killed our children. No, sorry, you've put your children in harm's way. Who does this? The same Pakistani. What is this mentality?
So, Neena
Their
ji-
people mean nothing.
Neena ji, you have just answered my question, or you have taken the answer from me, or you have
Okay,
stolen
sorry.
it. See, the best card nowadays in the market is the victim card.
Yes.
So you do everything and then you pull out the victim card. See, India is killing innocent civilians. Now, once you have a gun, and incidentally, videos were made by the villagers, and they are saying that the Pakistani army has put their guns here. जब हिंदुस्तानी आर्मी मार करेगी तो हमारा नुकसान होगा. They have put these videos on social media.
Of course.
Because they are worried.
Yes.
So this is the standing of the Pakistani army. Now you have Hamas. Hamas has got their ammunition dump under the hospital.
Yes.
So you have to take down the ammunition dump. How will you take it down? So hospital is there. So once you hit something or near the hospital is being attacked. That will be shown on the media.
I just want to raise this point that this is so against our culture to put civilians in harm's way simply because, in Sanskrit and Hindi, the army people are called Kshatriyas,
Ji.
right? So the word Kshatriya in Sanskrit, since I've studied Sanskrit for so many years, it means जो क्षति से बचाए,
बचाए.
जो क्षति न होने दे. So क्षति किसे न होने दे? तो
शत्रु से या किसी भी प्रकार से
क्षति न होने दे, which means कि हम उन लोगों को बचाए जिनको क्षति हो सकती है. तो क्षति is used, for example, अक्षत. अक्षत is a
Okay.
word.
जिसकी क्षति नहीं हो सकती.
जिसकी क्षति नहीं हुई है,
नहीं.
which is intact. अक्षर, which means like the vowels and the consonants आप उसे destroy नहीं कर सकते.
जी.
अक्षर, ठीक है? This cannot never happen.
हम्म.
अक्षत, अक्षत इज चावल का जो दाना होता
जी,
है
जी,
जिसकी
जी, जी.
क्षति नहीं होती वो अक्षत है. अगर
जी.
उसकी क्षति हो जाती है तो हम उसको वो इट्स नॉट कंसिडर्ड प्योर, राइट?
जी.
तो उसे हवन में नहीं चढ़ाया जाता है. तो क्षति किसकी ना हो? तो सिविलियंस की क्षति ना हो, इसीलिए हम क्षत्रिय रखते हैं. एंड this is the Hindu concept, right? Versus this concept wherein they are just promoting their own people, putting them in harm's way. It's just is mind boggling for me. It's just beyond understanding. And I guess because of this reason, a lot of innocent janta doesn't understand the dirty games that these people play.
Exactly. Neena ji, if you recollect on social media, there was a picture which was going viral.
Yeah.
They were comparing the Pakistani army and the Indian army. So the Indian army wears olive greens and the Pakistani army wears khakis. And there's a reason why they wear khakis. If you wanted, then I'll come to that point.
Please.
Also. Okay, shall we discuss khaki or shall we discuss the picture?
First picture, then khaki.
Okay. So in the picture, they show that there's an Indian army soldier in olive greens, and what he has done, he has hidden a lady behind him, and arrows are flying towards him, thereby showing that the Indian armed forces, what they do is they take the brunt and they protect the civilians.
Yes.
Now, the other picture shows the Pakistani army. A khaki-clad man, what he has done is, there's a burqa-clad woman right in front of him. And he is hiding behind that woman. The picture said it all. Now, coming to the color of the dress. If you recollect, in India, we had the British and they used to wear a long red tunic. So that is why the paltan in India was known as the Lal Kurti Paltan. So there was a reason why this tunic was red in color. If in case you are hit and blood will ooze out, so it will merge with the tunic. It will not cause panic in your men.
Oh God.
So that is why you are wearing Lal Kurti. So that panic is not set in amongst the forces. Now that was meant to camouflage blood. That is why the Pakistani army wears khakis to camouflage.
What they're camouflaging, I think people have enough imagination to understand that. So, talking of let's go back to the topic, which is Iran. Israel has said, as you mentioned, that they are in for regime change, right? So, is regime change in Iran a realistic goal, and what could be the consequences of such a regime change?
Neena ji, regime change was the plan of the Americans. Regime change in the book of the Israelis were third priority. The Americans, if you recollect, have been giving a statement that we will negotiate with a new team. That was the first statement which came. So this hinted of regime change.
Okay.
The second thing was that Mr. Trump, he was targeting Khamenei. And he was telling him that we know where you are hiding, we can hit you, but we will not hit you. Although Mr. Netanyahu said that twice they tried to kill Trump, whatever the case may be. So he said that we should have favorable regime in Iran. Now, how you come on to this conclusion? You have the crown prince of the Pahlavi dynasty sitting in US.
Yes.
Mr. Shah Pahlavi.
Yeah.
Mr. Shah Pahlavi's middle daughter, Iman, she marries a Jew by the name of Bradley Sherman. The marriage is solemnized in Paris. This happened on the 8th of June 2025, that recent. After the marriage, Shah Pahlavi announces that we will have celebrations in Tehran. So hinting that he is looking towards Tehran.
Yes.
Suddenly,
Very, very subtle hints. We're dropping very subtle clues and hints. Huh?
If you are active on Twitter, you would have noticed that in 2025,
Yeah.
his Twitter account goes aglow.
Mm.
He comes into the Twitter fold.
Yes.
He starts tweeting for
Mm.
Iran.
Mm.
And suddenly, he comes up with a statement that there should be favorable uh, atmosphere in Iran.
Mm.
So he has decided that he will stake claim in Iran, and most probably the Americans will push for his candidature there.
So here is the irony. The current regime is now you're smiling because you know what I'm almost going to ask you, because this is ironical, right? It is the MI5 and the CIA, and you know, when of course I knew this, so when I was making my notes for this question, it was very easy for me to make the notes, right? And because I've researched on the Pahlavi dynasty, as an astrologer as well, I've looked up the charts and I know that the previous king died around an eclipse. And so when I was researching that, I came to know that he was ousted by the work of MI5 and CIA. So MI5 and CIA overthrew them, and in their place, this current
Ayatollah
regime,
Khomeini came.
yes, they were put, right. And this is according to the disclosed dossiers of the MI5 themselves. This is not from me. This is not from Indian intelligence. It's widely open on television. So why do they have a problem now?
Now, because he is trying to build something which is not favorable to the Americans.
So
He is not listening to the command.
so basically you bring someone and till the time they're pliable,
Yes.
they're fine. So in Iran, have there ever been rulers who are truly Iranian, or have they all been puppets of the West?
No, not exactly. If you see the Shah of Iran, the Pahlavi dynasty, he ruled with an iron fist.
The first one or the second one?
I'm coming to the most recent, the second one.
The second one. He's the
Till
son.
1979.
Yeah, okay, the son.
The Muhammad Shah Reza Pahlavi.
Yeah.
Who died in 1980 in exile.
Yeah.
So he ruled Iran with an iron fist. He had his own torture chambers, torture beds, very ruthless. People were being put into those iron cages and then fire was lit under.
Oh, God.
So those were known as the toaster beds.
Toaster beds.
Yes.
Okay. This is something what Syria is doing? You know, they're putting them in cages and burning them.
Yes. So this was happening in Iran. But if you see the pictures that were there during those days, you found that Iranian nightlife was too good.
Yeah.
It was rocking.
I've seen the pictures.
Yes.
What a free culture, what a good looking people, and you know, it's so nice to see happy music, enjoying all of
Tehran
that.
was known as the Paris of the East.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Fashion used to come first to Tehran, and then it used to percolate down to other countries. That was a level of freedom, you can say that.
Freedom, money, power, and also
Prosperity, happiness.
Yeah, happiness.
Those who were against the Shah, they were eliminated, no doubt about that. But the general public was very happy. So generally you find that wherever such things are there, those things are eliminated. Like we had in Iraq, Saddam Hussein. People say that he was a tyrant, he was a dictator, but the Iraqis were very happy.
They were happy with him, and
under
he
his rule.
controlled all the militia. Yeah, I mean he was. You can call him a dictator, and you can claim all sorts of things on him. Just because you want a reason to eliminate him. But after that, look what has happened.
The other name which comes to my mind is Muammar al-Gaddafi of Libya.
Yeah, and
again he was a dictator. But then people were happy in Libya under his command. He was ruthless. But then they were happy. So somebody decides that, okay, democracy should come to these countries and dictatorship should be abolished.
But democracy did come to Iran as well. And these were the same people who demolished that democracy. You know, they had a democratically elected government, which was then ousted within a month or so. I don't remember the exact timing. And then Pahlavi was brought back. Pahlavi was there and he had gone.
And then came back.
And then he had come back.
And after that, Ayatollah Khomeini came in. You have the president also. There is a president in Iran, but then the president is a rubber stamp there.
Okay.
He doesn't hold any value. The Islamic clergy
Yeah.
They rule the roost. Earlier it was Ayatollah Khomeini, now it is Ayatollah Khamenei, who call the shots in Iran. And he is known as a supreme leader. And of course, rumors were that his second son, Mojtaba, he was being groomed to become the next leader.
Okay.
Mojtaba, he had the control of the Irani intelligence, the Irani economy, and the Irani information and broadcasting. So all three pillars were under Mojtaba. And Mojtaba always was present by the side of his father.
Okay, so the visual imagery was
Yes,
going ahead to
yes.
confirm that this is the person.
Yes. So a probable successor of Khamenei was Mojtaba. Now we are discussing regime change. But then nobody would want Mojtaba to come as a successor of Khamenei. If in case there's a regime change, he will not be acceptable.
Okay.
So there is one person who is sitting in the US, and that is from the Pahlavi dynasty. He is one probable.
Okay.
There is one more probable. And this guy happens to be the nephew of Khamenei.
Oh.
So the next successor, which they say might be the nephew of Khamenei. So let us see what happens. He is the son of the estranged sister of Khamenei.
So these are exciting times.
Yes. But then, Neena ji, one more thing. Iran happens to be a civilization country. And the organization structures are very, very deep rooted and very strong in Israel, in Iran. It will be a very tough ask to eliminate all these things. See, the first pillar is the supreme leader himself, which I believe has already fled the country and is hiding somewhere in Qatar. That is my belief. I may be right, I may be wrong, but this is my understanding of things. The second institution is the IRGC, the Iranian Republican Guard Corps. Iranian Republican Guard Corps is spread all over in all the provinces, and they have got a very well-defined structure. They run the moral policemen also. If you remember, there was a protest against the hijab.
Yes. They killed many girls.
Yes. So they have got deep penetration in the society and they are spread all over. The third part is the Guardian Council. Guardian Council, and the fourth is the Assembly of I'm forgetting the name, what exactly is. So these two organizations, what they do is they roll down the various norms to be followed in the society. Now they are existing in Iran. So once you have a new person to rule this country, you will have to take care of these organizations as well. So any person entering into the polity of Iran, his stepping into the polity will not be an easy task.
Of course.
Lots and lots of challenges will be faced by him.
Okay. I want to understand about the diplomatic relationships of Iran and Israel both. Israel, for some reason, seems to have a good diplomatic relationship with other Islamic countries. So let's, for example, take a look at Saudi. And, or let's take a look at other Arab countries only. Why only Saudi? Who is lending support to Israel?
Since you have made a mention of good relations with the Islamic countries, let us take our minds back to the famous Abraham Accords. The first country to sign was UAE. They signed the Abrahamic Accord, and where they pledged that we will finish hostilities and whatever.
Which year was this?
I'm forgetting this was 2000. I think 13 it was started, and 15 they inked it. The next two countries to follow were Morocco and Bahrain. They followed, and recently we saw Saudi Arabia getting into negotiations with Israel till such time 7th of October 2023 didn't come. So they say that this was enacted. Why? Because the Saudis were cozying up with the Israelis and Iran didn't like it. So Iran pumps in this energy into Hamas and Hamas carries out this attack.
And the reason they do this is because, and one of the reasons also Operation Sindoor happened. Imagine our PM was at the time visiting the same country.
Ji.
He was in Saudi.
Ji.
And so this definitely doesn't seem by chance to me. This is by design.
Ji.
And so any country that starts strengthening their relationship or diplomatic ties with Saudi, Iran has a problem. And so does that say that Iran at some point wanted to be the caliph? So I see in the Middle East that Turkey wants to be the Khalifa of the Middle East. And then Iran also seems to be wanting to do that. Is that true?
Yes, 101% true. Secondly, the belief system in all these countries. Iran is 95% Shia. They have got a Shia populace, Shia ruler. Iraq is 60-65% Shia, but you have a Sunni ruler. Bahrain, 60-65% Shia, but the ruler, the monarchy is Sunni. Rest all countries have got predominantly Shia populace and Shia rulers. So this is a tussle between the Shias and Sunnis in the West Asia. Saudi Arabia is a Sunni regime. Iran is the only Shia regime existing. So Iran would love to be the leader of the Muslim Ummah. And if in case Iran comes up, you have a Shia leader, which the Sunnis will not accept. Saudi Arabia is hedging its own bet by cozying up with the US. They want to show to the world that they are a very progressive society. Of late, you would have seen how MBS he has acted. Mohammed bin Salman, when I say
of course, MBS.
Yeah. So how he has acted, he has made an island where he first allowed liquor to be consumed by diplomats, and later on he has allowed consumption of liquor on that island. Then women were allowed to drive. Of course, anybody listening to the podcast will feel that this is nothing great, but in a country where women were not allowed to move out alone, in that country, if in case you come up with this, it's a very big thing. He put a ban on loudspeakers in mosques. Then, of course, Saudi Arabia houses two very important pilgrimage of Islam, Makkah and Medina. And Pakistan is not very happy the way Saudi Arabia is progressing. All countries have an army. The Pakistani army has a country.
The sad part is that, it's a Hira Mandi army.
Yes.
So tell me about, so we've discussed the Middle Eastern diplomatic relationships with Israel and other things. Now, how is this conflict going to affect India's diplomatic relationships with Israel and Iran? Because India has had a great relationship with Iran, and why should it not? We have interest in, let's say, port, the Chabahar port and other things. So tell us, how is it going to affect us?
See, whatever happens in the Middle East, it's a win-win situation for India.
Okay.
If we take it that the Iranians, they win. So we are back, status quo maintained. Our relations with Iran, again maintained. No issues. Suppose there is a regime change and the regime of, say, hypothetically, Shah Pahlavi comes into play. Now, Shah Pahlavi will always be sympathetic towards somebody who has got economic interest in his country. Nowadays, nobody goes in for pure ideology. It is all economic interest.
Correct.
India has come a long way.
Yes.
We are the fourth largest GDP country in the world.
Correct.
So, at present, no country in the world would like to have a strained relationship with India. Pakistan, of course, is not a country. It's just a thought.
A garrison state. An outhouse
for
other people's interests.
See, people in the outhouse will feel offended when you say outhouse.
Okay.
So it's just a thought.
Okay.
A thought comes and a thought goes. That is what Pakistan's existence on this earth is. Pakistan is used by every power on this earth.
Tissue paper.
Okay. Of course, tissue paper can't speak, so you can use the word. Otherwise, the tissue paper would also have registered a protest on your channel.
Okay.
So yes, you can call it that way. Everybody wants to use Pakistan. Now, if you recollect, there was a gentleman by the name of Michael Rubin.
Yeah.
He's an ex-Pentagon and now he's a businessman. And he gave a statement that what will happen, regime change, the nukes will be shifted from Iran and they will go to Pakistan.
No.
That is what he has said.
Yes, he has said that. I know that. But my point was
Of course,
no.
you are surprised. How come?
No, as in, oh my goodness, more nukes for these guys?
Yes.
Anyways, coming back to so India's foreign policy in the Middle East, we've evacuated through Armenia. How are we complicating these how are we navigating these complex ties? Can you explain to us how we are and how we should go about this?
Neena ji, if you recollect, Ukraine and Russia, they went into war.
Correct.
Now, just take your mind. The Prime Minister greeting Mr. Zelensky.
Yes.
He hugs him
Yes.
and he greets him.
Yes.
Now, the Prime Minister, he meets Mr. Putin. How does he greet him?
Yeah.
He hugs him and he meets him. So, what happens is that India is friends with all. We have no enmity towards anybody.
Yeah, which I think people just don't understand.
Yes. There's a beautiful shlok. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kasyit dukh bhag bhavet. So we speak of the entire world. Everybody should be happy, everybody should be disease free, and there should be no sorrow in this world. This is our philosophy. So if Ukraine and Russia are fighting, they are fighting amongst themselves.
Yes.
Why should I say that, okay, I'll side by Ukraine or I'll side by Russia? Let them fight.
Yeah.
Of course, if they want, they will say, okay, India, please help us. We want to resolve this conflict. And then India will go and mediate. India will not go and tweet that I have mediated and the conflict has ended. That is our philosophy.
Okay.
So similarly, in this fight also, we have got good relations with Israel. We have good relations with Iran.
Yeah, because both the sides we are,
Yes.
we have friends on both sides.
Now, these children, the 10,000 of them who are studying in Iran, basically medical students, and predominantly coming from the state of Jammu and Kashmir. These children are stranded there. They have to travel
10,000.
Yes, that is the figure that was given to us. There is not just 1 or 2,000, there are 10,000 of them.
10,000.
Yeah, so they will be coming from all parts of Iran. Now, Iran has been a center for learning, civilizational country again. Now, these children will have to navigate a difficult mountainous route, 1,500 kilometers they have to travel. It takes around 14 to 17 hours to come to the Armenian border. So, the Armenian border is just 44 kilometers long with Iran. They cross into the Armenian side, where a plane will be there, they will be emboarded, and the plane will come bring them back to India. This is how the operation is planned. Now, what we have done in the Ukrainian conflict also, we made a safe lane for the students who were studying in Ukraine. So, what we did was, we told them that this is the time when our students will be traveling. So, there will be no bombardment. In this scenario also, the Indian embassy in Israel would have told Israel that our students will be traveling on this route from this time to this time, because these children were evacuated and the member of the Indian embassy in Tehran was along with them. See, so the involvement of the diplomatic corps with the population of your country, that is very important. So we feel for our people, and that is why we are there. Conflict is going on, bombs are falling. The bomb doesn't see whether you're an Indian or a Pakistani or an Iranian.
Of course not.
But still, what our government officials do, they go into that conflict zone, they evacuate our own people, they give them safe passage, and they again go back to the missions to perform their job. So Israel is told, these children, they pass, and of course, when they have passed, then Israel can
Do what
have a
they
jolly,
want.
yeah, they can do whatever. So this is the strength of our diplomacy, where we have balanced it between Israel as well as Iran. So we are not friends with Iran, and we are not friends with Israel, or we are not enemies of any country.
And such a lovely way to evacuate your own people,
Yes.
right? It's so well organized, requesting both the sides. And let's say if we had enemies in Israel, or we were, we had developed enmity with Israel, do you think they would have allowed this?
No,
No?
never. Neena ji, I remember my first boss in the Ministry of External Affairs was Miss Neena Rai.
Okay.
She was India's ambassador in Lebanon.
Okay.
Now, Miss Lovum, she got the President's Award for the human job that she did of evacuating Indians from Lebanon. And they were not only Indians, there were, I think, more than 2,000 people from other countries who joined the Indian entourage, and they were evacuated by our naval ships.
You know, even I remember when the Ukraine war had started, all the Pakistanis had put Indian flags.
Yes, 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 yes. And they were shouting Bharat Mata ki Jai.
Well, they go abroad and they open Indian restaurants
Yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
they shout Bharat Mata
Mata
ki
ki Jai.
Jai as well because they know who the boss is
Yes, yes.
and that they'll be saved, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of diplomacy, I want to know that recently PM Modi out has in his outreach he's reached out to Cyprus and also Croatia.
Mhm.
And I remember that you've written this article called Bharat to the Blue Waters, from Bharat to the Blue Waters.
Mhm.
What is Modi's strategic signal in Cyprus? Can you please tell us about it? I do my research on my guests. I don't have staff. I do my own research. I make my own questions. But
See,
this one specifically,
mhm.
Bharat to the Blue Waters. What is Modi's?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll come to Croatia first, the
Yeah.
most
Okay.
recent
Uh-huh.
visit. So the Prime Minister, he flies to Zagreb, and in Zagreb he is naturally greeted by the polity of Croatia. But you have the Indian diaspora standing there, and the Indian diaspora, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai. There is a young person who tells Modi ji that my grandfather came here as a textile merchant.
Oh.
Today, at least we are being seen.
Ah.
See the thoughts which are now traveling, that we have now given visibility to our diaspora.
Yes.
That's a very important thing. At one point of time, we used to feel that our diaspora are the others. हमको छोड़ के चले गए, अपने हित के लिए गए हैं. The things have changed. This diaspora are now India's goodwill ambassadors in
Of
that country.
course, anybody who lives in a foreign country is an ambassador.
Yes. So they get good points. I must say, use the word points. If in case you tabulate the table as to how your country is viewed, I think India stands way above any other country. The way our diaspora behaves. I remember there was a US congressman who gave a speech that in US, their Indians are just 1% in his constituency, and 6% of the taxes were being collected from the Indians.
Yes.
So we are by nature law abiding, peaceful people who respect the rule of the land where they have gone. We don't say that, okay, this is my culture, I will follow it this way. Sorry. If in case I have gone to the United States, I will not hesitate in flying the Star Spangled Banner
Yeah.
in front of my house,
Yes,
because I'm staying in that country.
Yes.
I should give due respect to that country.
Yes.
I will not forget my country. Of course,
Yeah.
my roots are Indian,
Yeah.
but I have to respect the country
Yeah.
which has given me shelter, food, or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
That is how the Indians behave outside. So you'll find a marked difference. We are a civilizational nation. Cyprus was a signal in many forms. Cyprus and Turkey, they can't see each other eye to eye.
Because Turkey has captured a part of Cyprus.
Yes.
Around 35%,
Yes.
the north side, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the symbolism was that the Prime Minister, along with the head of state of Cyprus, they walked on that wall and they had a look at that thing. See, in diplomacy, everything is symbolic. Symbolism plays a very, very important role. How you greet the person. Since you have made a mention about my article, I wrote an article on the Prime Minister's visit to Canada for the G7. And people were saying that Mike Carney, he is hedging his bets. He has taken a big risk. He has put all his political capital at stake when he's inviting the Prime Minister of India. So then I said that a handshake in Canada doesn't mean the end of conflict.
Yes.
It means start of negotiations. So this is what India does. The Prime Minister goes and he shakes hands with people, and negotiations start if in case the relations are strained. What changed? We had our high commissioners reinstated. So what is happening is that you take a step and India is there with you. Now the Prime Minister of India did not request for that entry into the G7 summit. It was requested by the Canadian Prime Minister. He doesn't request that I should go there. His hand is held and he is offered a chair which has been vacated by somebody. Sir, please go and sit there. That's your seat. That is the difference. Now what we are seeing, where India is there. India has arrived. We have shown to the world that we are a power to reckon with. People look up to India. If you recollect, Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, what she says, you are the best.
Yes.
You are the best.
I'm trying to be like you.
Yes. Why do the world leaders of that stature want to be like the Indian Prime Minister? I won't say Modi ji, I would say Indian Prime Minister. Let me take some credit. I'm also an Indian. He's my Prime Minister. So everybody wants to emulate India.
Yes.
And of course, the leader, he's representing India, so they want to emulate him. So that is a difference which India has brought in the entire world. We are not the leader of the global south. I should say that at present, we are a power to reckon with.
एक कहावत है हिंदी में जो मुझे बहुत पसंद आती है, जो लोग गद्दी के लिए लड़ाई करते हैं।
जी.
ये कहावत ये है कि जहाँ शेर बैठता है वही सिंहासन होता है।
नीना जी, अब हिंदी की बात चलिए तो फिर मैं एक और बोलूं। एक पिक्चर आई थी पूरब और पश्चिम। उसमें गाना था, उसकी एक लाइन थी, कुछ और ना आता हो हमको, हमें प्यार से जताना आता है।
अच्छा.
So that is the difference in India and the entire world. We show love, we offer love. That is what we do to the entire world. When you're offering love, you're making the world more peaceful, more livable, and more conducive to further development.
I read one of your articles, or I glanced at them, and you said that the G7 summit became less about unity but more about absence, because one man, the leader of the world's most powerful democracy, chose to walk out. Tell us what happened and what was the reason? Just give us a brief, and why did you use this word, less about unity and more about?
See, what happens is that the POTUS, he decides to walk away. I won't say that he was annoyed at something. He was signaling something. And the signal was that he was going to do something that was very important.
Okay.
If you remember Mr. Macron, the president of France, he makes a comment that he has gone to negotiate a ceasefire between these two warring nations. And before Mr. Trump could board the plane, he says that not only ceasefire, I'm going to do things much bigger than that. And then he goes into the Situation Room the moment he lands there. Situation Room, iconic room, 1961, built in the west wing of White House. And JFK was the first president to enter that room. He goes into the room and stays there for 80 minutes. Now the signal goes that something big is going to happen. Because if anything big is happening, the president of the US will enter the Situation Room. When Osama bin Laden was taken out from Kabul in Pakistan. Again, Pakistan figures at every wrong place in the world. Oof. So, Mr. Obama, the president, he was watching everything from the Situation Room. So that is the importance of the Situation Room in American politics and signaling to the world that something big is about to happen.
Okay.
So he was sending out signals that I am not leaving this place just for negotiations. Something big is happening. What you do is you pressurize Iran into something. You show that I am going to do something. I might launch my central command, General Kurila will do something very, very great sitting there. So that is mere signaling. But what happens is his walking out was something that the G7 was a fractured community.
Okay, so you think that that his walking out has yielded positive results by now? Do you think that it has, or was it supposed to drag for so long, or what was it? Is it going to drag?
It's a matter of conjecture, because now what I visualize that the Iranians are coming to the negotiating table.
Okay, so it yielded good results.
Yes, it yielded good results. Why? Because the Iranian military might was being questioned. It came under a lot of badgering from the Israelis. That was one. US was trying to build pressure on Iran. I don't think that Iran buckled under the US pressure
Mm-hmm.
because Iran still has a trump card, the Gulf of Hormuz, which he has not played. He might play, he might not play, I don't really know.
How are they going to play that hand?
If in case you block the Gulf of Hormuz, the energy transfer will be affected.
Okay.
But then if in case the Gulf of Hormuz is blocked, the Chinese interests are also going to be affected.
Okay, so it's a multi-dimensional
Yes.
diplomatic as well as...
Yes. Lots
okay.
and lots of things will change if in case this happens.
Okay.
Since I have made a mention of Iran and China, if you recollect, there were two plane loads of military equipment which came from China. These planes, they flew over Tajikistan and they switched off their transponders and they landed in Iran. They brought various radars and anti-aircraft systems. Lot of military equipment was on board these aircraft. Interestingly, there was a convoy of military vehicles which was traveling from Balochistan into Iran, Chinese vehicles, bringing again Chinese military goods into Iran. And the moment this came into picture, immediately Pakistan closes its borders with Iran from Balochistan, showing to the world that, oh, our borders are sealed, nothing can pass through. But then everything had passed through it. Everybody had taken a...
So very conveniently, they let them pass through and
then
then they
shut
close, they
the
shut the
borders.
borders.
Yes. As if the entire world was blind.
They, sometimes a lot of people think that they're doing tricks or they're being smart, but they don't I mean, they must really think that the IQ of the others is very, very low. uh, so you've also mentioned, so after Operation Sindoor, you said that, we see the footsteps being followed.
Yes.
And I want to come back on to the Operation Sindoor and the things that have happened there, and the US when they went. Now, when the US is gone, when President Trump has gone, they invited Asim Munir for
The luncheon.
lunch, right? Obviously, US has been backing Pakistan. Modi declined Trump's invitation, and sort of rightly so. Also, at the last minute, it would have been difficult. Yet he was briefed, and Modi ji also rejected the mediation. So I want to understand, what is the US trying to do in this case? Is this a dangerous game they're playing? They want to play both the fields. What exactly is the US trying to do here? Because to an extent they have offended India. Do you think, or you don't think?
Okay. I'll come to how the Prime Minister of India reacted to it.
Yeah.
See, whenever a head of state leaves the country, he has a minute to minute program chalked out for him. So he was supposed to fly off to Zagreb. And there was a program in Croatia also. So his program was uh, planned and then it was supposed to be executed in a particular manner. So inviting him at the 11th hour would have upset many a things. So, very rightly so, the Prime Minister refuses an invite to come over to the US to discuss something. Now, people can take it as a signal that we are very powerful, mighty.
No, no.
The practicality is
Practicalities,
practicality is that he refused because of this reason. He had a courtesy telephone call with him for 35 minutes. And in that call, he made a mention about Operation Sindoor, that it was still continuing. That means if in case somebody tries to even harm Indian interest or even thinks of doing so, we will take action. Our DGMO has already used the word. The action that we take will be fierce and punitive. So Pakistan dare not take any action. I would say dare not even think of taking any action, because that thought will also be heard in Delhi. Now, the Prime Minister makes another thing very clear, that no mediation will be acceptable. Now, we will stick to our guns, that we have always insisted that we will speak to the adversary directly. We don't want any third party intervention. And that is our stated policy. For any issue, we don't want arbitration or mediation. We discuss this, any issue, howsoever complex it may be, directly with the opponent. That is our stated policy, and that is how things go.
It should be. And I believe that every time they bring up anything, the first point is, when are we getting POK?
Yeah.
And it's a very simple question. It's a matter of, when, the date, let us have the dates to start with, right? So,
Are you asking me the date?
yeah.
Okay.
Tell
So,
us.
Neena ji, a very simple question. I hope you don't mind eating eggs. You eat eggs. You take eggs.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes, yeah.
Neena ji, I hand over an egg to you,
Okay.
and the egg is in your hand.
Yeah.
And if you crush that egg, what happens? The egg will break. It will spoil your hands.
Yeah.
Maybe the clothes, the table.
Yeah.
Lot of muck will be spread.
Yeah.
Neena ji, the same egg.
Yeah.
If you let it rest in the nest,
Yeah.
the hen sits over it.
Yeah.
The egg hatches.
Yeah.
A beautiful life is born out of it.
Okay.
Let the egg be hatched by the hen.
Okay.
The natural process be followed.
Okay.
A beautiful life will emerge.
Okay.
If you try to smash the egg, lot of muck will flow.
So give it at the time that they are ready to give, or give it. Is that what you're saying? No.
I just
Okay.
told you a story.
All right.
Yeah.
We have to be
Whatever
smart
you
enough.
decide.
Whatever we decide
Yeah,
out of
whatever
it.
you decide, the result is in front of you.
Okay.
So do you want the muck to spread, or do you want a beautiful life to be born?
No, absolutely beautiful life to be born is the thing. Well, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you and having you answer all our questions. Namaste. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you so much, Neena ji. And as Bond would have said, the pleasure was entirely mine. Thank you so much for offering me this opportunity. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Jai Shri Ram.